Okay, we're on.
That's an interesting question.
Hmm?
Okay. I'm just reading what you're on the screen.
Okay, so this I had an idea of trying to make a table of what makes a blockchain these days, and to compare or check the distance we have to go for our system to be a blockchain, because I think that it is correct to say that we can replace, like we will be able to run a consensus mechanism as a natural language coded set of steps executed by not today's models, but in 6 months, the models should be sufficient that they can execute consensus correctly.
That's a big claim. I don't know if you want to go down this and then we can go back and. Well, consensus is always boiled down to who has the right to vote. So.
Right. So, for example, this is the tenement consensus algorithm, and I don't know how to make it big.
Yeah, I see. I know.
But you know what I mean. It's a reasonably simple algorithm. I don't see any reason why that can't be reliably executed by a natural language specified bot.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought of that. So, how do you do it?
The same way as we're doing the CRM stuff. You know, it's like, here's a set of rules. We generate a set of test data that comes in. We test errors. We test messing with it. We test timing. We test all these kinds of things, and we see if the system ticks forwards correctly. And that's about it. It's just the same way as testing a piece of code, except we didn't write the code. We just set the rules in natural language using our system, and then we executed it with the AI, and then we ran multiple different instances calling the same AI model.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I hadn't thought about this before. So consensus is all about people not trusting each other.
Correct.
However, people can trust in code, open source,
that's the whole point.
sysprompt, and so on. And it's like your choice is play or don't play. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you know it runs the same every time.
Yep.
And it's not down to any, central change of governance. There would need to be governance around the prompts of the bots that were running the consensus.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that can be dealt with in a very parsimonious way that doesn't involve burying a huge number of forests. That's
correct.
I thought of that, actually. That's really good. Yeah. I thought of that.
So, if you can do consensus using an AI model, because our sort of thesis is you can do everything eventually with an AI model, and it's really just about building the mounting units that can hold and focus and arrange these AI models to do our bidding, and consensus is just another way of doing that.
Well, exactly. In fact, we've already been doing consensus without actually calling it out as consensus when we're talking about the judges looking at tests.
Yeah, it's a form of it. Yeah. So, to go through this list, decentralization, no single entity has control over the network. Well, this one is built in because we've designed it in right from the start, and it's really a case of getting other people to start running the nodes. But by design, it is meant to be decentralized. And if we can get consensus working in a nice way, and then invite people to join, then we have at least that part of a blockchain. The distributed ledger, that's handled by Git. So this comparison was where I was saying...
This is a single Git instance, so it could be on-prem or it could be GitHub.
No, this is running on our system.
Yeah.
It's a
But underneath that's a Git instance.
that's a Git repo. It's a Git repo,
Yeah.
but it's being shared around between multiple participants with reaching consensus as to what the current commit represents the head. What's the latest commit is what the consensus question is.
Yes, but where's the there's no need for. Well, here's a chance for it. I don't think possibly there's a need for a global consensus. What we've got is, say, if I had a whole bunch of my bots, and some of them were pulled from images and agents, those are my instances and so on, then you have your own version, and we try to decide what to do next on a certain thing. Then we go up to the judges to decide. There's no consent. There's no consensus there because the decision between you and me, based on the judges, may well be different from the consensus between me and another. There's a different set of bots, and the judges go up and say, "Okay, here's what we should do in this event." So it's much more like, as opposed to there being one single source of truth, there is one, effectively a legal system where we're saying we're all using bots, you're using bots, we're going up to the judges.
Oh, that's a different layer. That's a different that is this table is about machine level consensus and achieving machine level consensus using the software designs that we have right now and using AI to shortcut a lot of what would otherwise be hard fucking slog in code land. So reaching social or political consensus on top of that is a different issue. It is made easier by having machine consensus under the hood, but that's a separate type of consensus. So that comes into this.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got to agree on, or agree or just piss off, basically.
Yeah.
If you agree, then you agree on putting it to a third party,
right?
Judges,
right.
Bots.
So I think that in our system, we want to make it so that governance is actually basically a council of AI judges. Yeah. And that's what decides when the protocol is ready to have a change.
It's like choosing a jurisdiction to go to a court
case. Yeah, that's right. We're choosing this AI governed thing, and if you don't like it, well, you're welcome to fork. But it's probably better. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So decentralized, that's built in. We just need to build a consensus mechanism, and then allow other people to run it. Distributed ledger, it's already got that by default. Immutability, that's kind of in there too. Transparency.
GitHub partially can be mutable.
Because you can do a force push in GitHub, and you can actually overwrite your history.
All right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I thought this was a really interesting comparison because I'm saying, well, where is GitHub lacking? And then that makes it easier for us to sort of explain where we're lacking and what would make us a genuine blockchain.
Yeah, without actually running a blockchain.
Yeah. Right. Transparency, that's built in, so we're good there. Cryptographic security needs to be built in, but I figure we can set up a bunch of stacks for that. It is designed and built in to have this. It's just not tested. That's all. Right. Smart contracts, well, that's isolates, so that's already in there. Support for tokens, I think that shouldn't be too hard because that's just basically holding a ledger, like a text file that holds the balances of everyone. That sounds easy enough. I was just going to use, I don't know if you've seen this site. plain text accounting. So that's basically what we do. Well, it's just how to do accounting in plain text. I'm looking for a great little detail. Here we go. So this is just basically it's all plain text, and it just does your books, and so that's how we can just.
Oh, that is really interesting.
Yeah. So you basically, it's just a loosely formatted doc, and it's a single entry accounting system, but it's more than adequate to maintain a balance and track, who's sent what where and who's spent what where, and does it all add up and all that. So.
And it's not double entry though.
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
Why?
I mean, essentially, that's what they're doing back in the 19th century on paper.
Yeah, that's us, right?
Yeah.
And then you can give the balance to the books and all that. So, anyway, that's all I was. There'll be some kind of a plain text way for us to maintain a token balance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's too far to reach once you've got all this other stuff, like smart contracts. That's quite a hard one. Decentralization, distributed, like all these other things are quite hard. Tokenization, that's very trivial, relatively speaking.
As soon as we get to plain text, we're cool.
Yeah. Traceability, well, that's all given from Git, really.
Mm-hmm.
Permission versus permissionless, that's sort of, we can serve both. Scale.
What did it say NA for that?
For GitHub, there's no real. For GitHub, there's sort of. I don't know why it said NA, because GitHub can do both.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Could be a hallucination, actually, because. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Finality.
Yep.
Finality is a good one. That's basically a consequence of our consensus mechanism.
And there's that force push you were talking about.
Yeah. So once we've set up consensus, we can see, like, Bitcoin doesn't reach finality until sort of around about an hour. Ethereum reaches finality in, like, I think it's within 12 minutes. But you get like a very strong, like you hit 90 something percent within like 12 seconds, but then it's like a number of minutes until it's like, no, absolutely beyond reproach. So that's, we can build that in based on our consensus mechanism. Redundancy, just sort of by nature, the fact that it's Git. Same with fault tolerance. Efficiency is really good for us. Like the resource consumption is quite neat.
Yeah.
Governance, like we spoke about that before, being able to have an AI-based system that's really where Impact GPT really comes in, because that's kind of that's really the hard bit that I think we've got a handle on.
Yeah. I'm quietly confident about that.
Yeah. Energy consumption, that's, we're fucking close to raw computing cost at that point. Now, economic incentives is a big one. Like that's definitely impact crystals, and that's the hardest thing to get right in a blockchain, and that's the thing that I think we spent the most effort on. So I think we have a winning model for economic incentives. We have we can reach all these other ones by design. And you could argue that some of our, like, you might say that our consensus mechanism will always be weaker than Ethereum's, or our decentralization won't be as good as Bitcoin's. Fine. So we sort of scrape in on a number of these things. But this one, I think, is that's where we can really shine.
I think so. And well, yeah, as you say, that's all impact GPT. I would also not underestimate the impact of energy consumption, because that's come up a number of times.
Yeah, but Ethereum's really good at energy consumption now.
Yeah, but it's not the same as, a server installation.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So, look, I was just trying to say that, I think it's a good idea to keep the public blockchain in mind. I know that the thing we got to do 100% now is this acquisitions model, but I don't know the way to say it. It just feels like if we're steering towards, like, to make the world's biggest organization, you would actually run it as a public blockchain. Like, because there'd be no point keeping it private, because if you had so many people, you're like, it's a public blockchain, the governance is out of our hands, it's all these things, right? And so that's why, for the long term, this is important. And I just wanted to take a minute to sort of reflect on what it takes to make a genuine public blockchain. And I think we're heading in the right direction overall.
Yeah. So, yes, I agree.
But
I think, yes, the ... It's not a but. Every time someone says but, everything before it is bullshit. ... means I'm thinking. So we can get quite far down the road using Git. And
I think all the way. I think Git takes us all the way.
Exactly. Most of the gains in terms of acquisitions to individual companies are going to be on-prem.
Or private. They're going to be private.
Right, exactly. And not worldwide. Now, sure, if you go worldwide, you need some form of, decentralization and so on. The permissionless piece, I think, is going to come first before any kind of worldwide blockchain, because what you want to do is to reduce the friction of people coming in and working for the organization. That is
that's really the bit that we need, and that's why having a public blockchain, even if we defer the decentralization so that we control it while we're still getting it certified, but if it's immutable, it's transparent and all that, that enables the permissionless work part.
Right, because if someone, say, if there's an organization that we wanted permissionless work, it wouldn't be unreasonable or jarring at all to have terms and conditions where the immutability and transparency is in the T's and C's, and you could even highlight those, make people comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then that's effectively a permissionless contract. T's and C's are permissionless contract. But what you don't need to do is to kind of get a worldwide consensus or anything like that, because it's still on-prem and private.
Right.
And you could turn it off, but if you turned it off, then you would have this permissionless contract based on these principles around the judges and so on, and you go, fuck you, you owe me money, or you shafted me, and so on.
Yeah, so all this stuff is actually strangely important, I think, for being able to draw on a worldwide network of contributors, because I just wonder if, for example, OpenAI might not, like, they seem to be doing a lot of, their press releases are about doing partnerships with people that have a lot of data that's of interest to them. So it wouldn't sort of surprise me if they were interested in the type of angle where this worldwide permissionless contribution thing where the AI was determining how much your contribution was worth, it wouldn't surprise me if making this globally transparent AI native platform would be of interest there, because it's.
I think it would, but I'll dial it back a little bit. So take a CRM company or a recruitment company or something like that. They've got their private, they've all got their on-prem, and we've got the governance in place, crypto, and everything else we've gone through. That doesn't need to be worldwide. Now, if we were to extend that to a very large company, same holds. We apply it to all of OpenAI, the kind of same holds. My feeling with the vector that OpenAI is going is they wouldn't want to have the kind of anarchic, entirely decentralized, anyone can come in and use the stuff thing. I think OpenAI is just a behemoth, but just scaled up from a CRM company, just very, very large. I think they'll be looking for the same thing. It's like, well, okay, well, if we're going to do this, we'll probably want to keep it on-prem.
No, I more meant like as a benefits to society type of a play, like being able to show that AI managed workers, like if we can get, for example, the CRM company having improvements made to the software by a distributed worldwide workforce.
I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect OpenAI would not be the org to talk to about that, because
who would be?
Some of these open source model guys, I think would be much better
true.
to talk to.
I guess my point is that if we were to continue on the path towards being a public blockchain, it seems that it has good benefit to working privately inside companies where we can put the problems public, and get the software problems solved externally. That's right. all. That's all I'm really trying to say with this.
Yeah. But there's I think okay. So do I think there is no, well, you could go full blockchain. I don't think that's necessary for the M&A piece.
No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all.
And for the OpenAI piece, I think they'll find that because those guys are going more private. Okay, so contentious, etc. I don't really care.
Okay.
Some of the open source models might be interested.
Right. I just think that if we can paint this picture and say, look, we are currently, I don't know, 20% the way there, but we think we got a design that can get us to 100%. It's a good reason to raise some capital around, because it's a better way to do blockchains, for lack of a,
Well, yeah. I would agree, but I think it's a subset of this. I mean, a lot of it is excellent, and some of it is actually right in our, backyard in terms of incentives. Accidentally, we've got energy consumption and so on. So I think it's a subset of this. I think if we were to show an org that you have all these things, permissionless work, very exceptionally low friction contracts that are recognized and incentivized through Impact GDP, I think that's a huge thing. I don't think we need to go to the kind of global scale. That sounds unnecessary for the M&A piece, or even talking to OpenAI. Perhaps if we were talking to the real open source guys who just want to have all come, and they're still going to be looking at enforcing their own governance, because nobody wants the basilisk. Well, it's just for the record, I would love the basilisk, just in case. Pascal's wager. But I think there's a subset of that. But I think you're right. Benchmarking against that would be really good, because each of these things individually you can't argue against, right?
No, it's kind of like this is the end game for where for where artifact needs to get to. Like, if we can tick all these boxes, that's artifact done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know it's
consensus is the one that's, I think, giving me the most concern. Can we go back to that? Why do we need a consensus mechanism on on-prem where you've got a gate where there's T's and C's and it's you either play by the rules or not, but the rules
because there's plenty of opportunities where two entities do not trust each other, but they do not want to involve a third party that they have to trust as well. For example, reconciling oil and gas trades. A consensus mechanism would allow them to reach agreement at the machine level by both having on-prem installations.
So what would that consensus look like in an AI world?
So it would look like simply it would look like simply the Tendermint algorithm, and you're like, so that you can be sitting inside BP, and you're like, shall I have assurance that shall and I both agree that this is the state of the ledger between us. That's what that looks like. Now on top of that, there's disputes that humans need to sort out, but that's different to getting the machines in sync first.
Yeah, so that would be sharing of hashes of the judges, so we all know we're using the same judge, the same structure, and all that was transparent.
Yeah, so you could audit how each side arrived at their consensus outputs, and in the end, both sides used a private key to sign a git commit where they both agreed that the git commit is correct.
Right, but that git commit, yeah, okay. So in the so I've been talking about single orgs in the M&A thing. I'm talking about OpenAI.
Yeah.
Now, but you're talking about quite rightly another use case, which is how do orgs interact?
Right.
Which is where that consensus.
Yeah. But you could also think of it the same as like an org with on-prem getting an external permissionless contractor. The permissionless contractor wants to see inside and know that the consensus mechanism isn't going to screw them out of their payment.
Right.
So it's that too. It's a way of saying that, yes, you've got legal comeback, but it's better to not have to exercise it because you've got this software-based guarantee that it's going to execute the way that it said. It's going to do what was promised. And that's why a consensus mechanism is important.
So consensus mechanism is quite expensive to build, but we kind of have that in the ability to rerun. Because
we've built it multiple times, and it's actually not that complicated if you don't try to do. It's not that complicated if you use the Git model. We were always trying to, in the efforts we made to build it before, we were always putting it too deep down the stack. But now that we got the Git model, it's like, well, you got these commits on both sides, and now you're simply trying to reconcile that. So, I mean, to be not that I want to, but you could actually just do what Tendermint wants you to do. And they provide a way that you can just use their software to gain consent or reach consensus on any hash. So we could just use their software to gain consensus on a Git hash, and that's it.
Interesting you say you don't want to. That sounds really quite a good approach.
Well, it sounds good until it means that we now have to run a separate set of servers to run all their shit on, and now we depend on them, and, like, it's better to not if we can avoid it, but that is a possibility.
On early days, we could use Tendermint and then back into our own version of Tendermint.
It would be better, in my opinion, to start with our own AI processed version. And, obviously, if that turns out to be too hard too early, then we'll bail on it. But if we can run it in natural language, that's remarkably more clean than running it as a compiled, as an executable. Remarkably so.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right. Cool.
So that's where that is. So yeah, that consensus mechanism is actually important for us to draw on innovations from far away, distant parties, because they're quite small and we're asking them to trust us. So we need a way that they can be assured that if the AI judge says they did a good job, they're gonna get paid. That's what we need to give them.
Yeah, that's the outcome, isn't it? It's just I'm thinking about what's the fastest, shittiest way to get something that's a bit closer to that.
So and I really do think if we keep this in mind as the end goal, we should be able to raise some capital to build the hard bits, because we're not the only ones with these problems. And if we can demonstrate our system working for acquisitions of small companies, then we should be able to demonstrate the utility of having these more exotic features and raise some internet money around it. That's what I think.
So I mean, the piss pitch would be there now with consensus, albeit early stage, etc. All the benefits of blockchain using NL and much more energy efficient, but also with impact GDP, which incentivizes, which that incentive thing is never there in any of the blockchain.
No, it's never there.
Works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought about why would you want to use it other than you're an enthusiast.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So sorry, that was a bit more long-winded than I meant to be.
No,
my apologies.
It's a really good call. It's a really good call to get that chart up.
Yeah, just to have a bit of a step back and look at it, right? And to sort of reconvince myself why we spent so much effort to be blockchainy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the self-sovereign data wasn't actually mentioned in that list, but that's probably a massive one.
That falls out though at the bottom of. It's probably not there because that was a chat session. Not many people talk about data sovereignty and data provenance.
I know. Okay, so I'll move on to the backchat.
Yep.
Okay, so I think I got you covered, buddy.
Brilliant.
I think I got you covered. So let me try and find the best way to present that, given my restricted environment here. Okie dokie. Fuck. The old blank sheet of paper.
This is where you start to draw like a 4-year-old.
So I really think that what it comes down to is that backchat is the single, stable, persistent chat session that's always there, and that's what's used to orchestrate and jump you around all these other chat sessions that are going on, as well as do metadata type tricks like roll back my last statement or undo that last thing.
And right? Importantly, we'll come to that, but go on. Sorry.
So one way to think about it is, here's the browser. Well, this feels very samurai-like.
It does, isn't it?
Here's the browser when I make a new tab, this fires up, and this is backchat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how's this going to work? And then inside of that, how about give you some color? There's like, these are sessions. And so like what we currently experience right now when you go to HAL is actually going to be this session. And then when you go backchat, start a new session, you'll get this new thing. Or when I say I use this session to modify some files, and then I say backchat, invoke that bot, and then it will make another session here, and it will drop you into it, and your user interface will make you feel like you're in each one of these bots, but you can always call out to backchat to jump you up and around.
Mm-hmm.
And so backchat in that sense is still a chat, but it's intended to be a very brief chat. It's not very smart, but it is very adept at knowing where everything is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the analogy I used last time was backchat is the receptionist at a high-end hotel.
Yeah. And then
can't make decisions, but can certainly, route your request or answer directly if it's useful.
And then when you start a new tab, you'll get a new backchat. And so backchat is persistent with the browser session.
What happens when you open a new tab and then you ask for something from the previous tab?
So I open backchat 2.
Yep, and on backchat 1, you're saying, last month I had a recipe for lamb rogan josh. I go, I said, I'd like to add paprika. Boom. Okay, happy days. Second tab.
So you open a new tab and it drops you into a default session, which is just, at the moment it's HAL, but you could have programmed that to be your default whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Then you're in there and you're like, hey, backchat, what was that recipe I was talking about? Blah, 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 right?
Yeah. And the reason behind that is I think there's a useful layer, and I don't think it's HAL, I think it is backchat. There's a useful layer that is just your world. It's your file system. It's like your laptop.
Yeah. So that's your home directory in this
2,
system.
Backchat 1 should be, synonymous.
Backchats, all the backchats are based on the same root file system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So if I go, if I add paprika to lamb rogan josh, I have no idea what that's okay thing to do, and then I open up backchat 2 and say, what was my recipe again? And it goes, here it was. Boom. And it's got paprika in it, even though it's a separate tab.
Right. So to do that, this session of HAL, if I called up backchat, it would go and look up. First of all, it could search all the files in your home directory. And if it didn't find it there, like for example, you were talking about a session you once had, it can search through all of the previous sessions that you've had, because these are just files too, ultimately. They're presented to you, when they're executing, they're in a branch, but they're always stored as files in your home directory so that you can actually rifle through them all and see each and every one of these sessions. And then what I'm hoping is we can also break that up into topics as well, but that's a later, not necessary thing.
Okay, so difference between, let's see if I got this right. difference between backchat 1 and backchat 2 here is the backchat session itself. Now, it's not very smart, but when you create the backchat 2, you're losing all the session that backchat 1 knows about, but 2 still knows about all the persistent storage sessions, search, and all that kind of thing.
Backchat 2 still knows about all these sessions because they're considered part of the file space. The only thing that's sort of persistent is that backchat 2 is a fresh backchat session, and it doesn't know about anything that you've spoken about to backchat 1 unless you tell it to go find that out. Because backchats...
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think I was over an indexing on sessions there. So all the blue boxes here on 1, 2 has access to. What it doesn't have access to is your request to retrieve, the first chevroned blue box, the second one with the dot, and so on.
Sort of correct. That's not... Backchat 2 gets loaded with that missing, but if you told it to, it can still... The session that backchat 1 represents is still stored on the file system 2, and you could tell backchat 2 to pull it up like any other session.
Okay. So the reason... I'll give you a step back about why I'm asking this. What would be excellent is backchat itself feels like your laptop. Going back to the paradigm of emails felt like faxes.
Right.
So in order to do that, I should be able to pull up backchat on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I had to run to the train.
Right.
I previously talked to backchat on my laptop, and it feels like it knows what I was talking about. It will just pick up where we left off.
The effect that you're looking for, I think, is best met within one of the blue boxes. And so, like, if you want persistence of conversation, you would be having it with one of the blue boxes.
Okay, so that'd be a HAL at that point.
Yeah, that'd be a HAL instance. And so what would have happened is that you would have ended up on your phone or your laptop, and you would have somehow told backchat that you wanted to resume the session you were just on your laptop.
Right, okay. All right. That works.
Right?
That works. That's
so backchat is your navigator for the device that you're on right now, and it's always fresh. However, if you want, for some reason, you can I think you can merge backchats. Like, you run out the door with your phone, and then you're like, hey, show me all the current backchat sessions. And then it's like, oh, you got this one from your laptop, you got this other one. You're like, okay, take over that one.
I'd push back on that one, but I don't know. So let's explore that.
I don't really like that, just to be out there. I'm just saying that the mechanics of the system don't seem to forbid that, and I can't think of a reason why you'd want to stop that, but I don't think that should be your normal way of operating.
Well, what what got in mind, I don't know whether this is practical, but to have effectively a virtual operating system. Backchat is the operating system, right? It's like you just booted up your laptop and nothing's running.
Right. That's right. That's what backchat is. Yep.
And what I'd like to do is have a virtual operating system where I can go, right, I'm working my laptop, shit, I've got to go. And then open backchat on my phone, running for a train, and I've still got the same, effectively the same blank, operating system with all my files there, that sort of thing, and then I can talk to backchat and say, right, okay, I was just talking about Lamb, Rock and Josh. There I go. Yep. Okay. So here's the session.
Right. That would happen where the backchat on your phone, which is intended to not have an identity really. It's supposed to be like the command prompt. The backchat on your phone would have recognized that you were in the middle of a session back on your laptop, which was one of the blue chevrons, and it would have loaded that up for you, and you'd continue on with that as though nothing changed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've got a virtual empty rebooted desktop across all devices. I don't really care, you know.
Right.
I pull up my iPad and it's like as if I was still on my laptop, which I've forgotten, you know.
Right.
But it's the same thing.
Right. Yep. I think that's how
That would
that
be
would come
awesome.
across. Yeah.
Imagine. It's like I don't care what device I'm on, but I'm still getting presented with the same options and the same functionality and the same knowledge.
Mm.
It's all just there.
So the only thing is that, like, the first time you did that, you'd run out the door, you got your laptop, you'd fire it up, it'd be blank. It'd be like it'd know that you'd logged in. Let's assume that you've logged in and all that.
Yeah.
And then you'd say, resume my last session. It would know what you mean and fire that up, and you'd be dropped straight into your last session with Hal or with whichever bot you were talking to.
Yeah.
But the difference there is it's not making you talk to backchat, because backchat is not who you were talking to. You're not supposed to converse with. Yeah.
I mean,
right.
how's that as a kind of paradigm? The I was saying about a rebooted laptop, nothing running, but you've got everything available.
You mean all the files, all the apps, all the everything?
All the files, all the apps.
Yeah, so that's what backchat's supposed to look like each time it starts. So every time I make a new tab on the browser, that's what it looks like. Every time you start up a new device, it looks like you switch to your phone. It looks like that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I think that's really powerful. It's a kind of extension to what Dropbox were doing with files, right? I don't care what device I'm on.
Yeah, you've got all your files, all your bots, but the key thing is all your running sessions are still there too, and you can jump in and resume any one of them anytime you like.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Okay,
really,
it sounds like we're reaching convergence there.
Yeah.
So backchat is what you use also when you want to do what you said yesterday. Was you told Hal to ignore everything that you'd previously said, and you wanted to get out of it, right? Yeah. So what OpenAI gives you is they wait. Oh, come on.
Oh, give me 2 seconds. Let's check the door. 2 seconds.
Okay.
And back in the room.
Okay. So what OpenAI gives you is they give you, like, for example, this button that says edit message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can go edit, and then I can reset it here. So what I plan to do for us is that inside Howl, I'll give you that button, but when you hit it, it's shortcuts for saying backchat, enter message starting with, is religion a pyramid scheme? Right? And it
So it's an undo.
Yeah, but the key thing I'm trying to illustrate here is that whatever buttons I put in the UI, all they do is enter a canned prompt in here and hit enter, where the canned prompt starts with backchat. So that you could have done it by just saying backchat, or you could click the button. And then when you do that, it'll do this exact same thing as what happened here, is it'll drop you back to that previous state as though nothing happened, and you can carry on.
No,
right?
that's perfect.
Okay,
effectively, it's nested undos. You can go back up through your session and go,
but the reason why you get that is because backchat is able to chat about the session that you're in, and that includes rolling back git commits and forking and doing all those relatively complex moves, because you can't do that inside the session. It's too mind breaking to be able to do what backchat just did in that example from within the session that you're in.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So from the user's point of view, you've got the session, and it's like you did what I did, which was it was autocomplete.
Lobotomized yourself.
Lobotomized is like I can't remember what it was. It was like reset, I think it was. It auto-completed too, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
You actually did it.
And damn you for doing what I said.
And it's like, you've forgotten everything. So that is effectively an undo, but it's a nested undo, because you can go up and up and up and saying, I went down a rabbit hole here. Let's undo everything and then go from here, which it would be much better for a button. Although you should be able to talk to backchat and say, backchat, can I pick up from this point? But a button would be a cleaner way of doing it. Have I caught what your intent is there?
Maybe. Let me check it. Let me check with a different example.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of ChatGPT, there is a lot of UI going on. You know, you've got this model switch, you got the share button, you got this copy, thumbs up, you got all these things, right? Including like the edit.
Every button should have something you can say in flow by saying backchat, do this.
Yeah, exactly. So in our system, we don't have this UI. It's replaced with the backchat system.
Yeah.
And all these are different sessions or threads. You would browse these via backchat. You don't have this permanent UI thing.
And this was, yes, absolutely. This is what I was saying the other day about the backchat pull-up the session where I was talking about my wife's birthday present last year.
Yeah. And so backchat itself, when it gets stumped, does present as a chat, but that bot is purposefully difficult for you to mutate. You can change any other bot in the system, but backchat, you will be able to change backchat, but it will be a pain for you. It's the bot that you shouldn't change, because...
what I'm thinking about backchat is effectively behind the scenes, there are a list of commands like save or search and instantiate, all that kind of thing. And it can't do anything. It can't answer any questions outside of that.
Right. It's a very, very locked down bot, but it occupies a privileged position in that it can look down on any chat. whereas the chat is happening. Backchat looks down on all the chats, and that's
precisely.
Okay,
Precisely.
all right. I think we're getting there.
I agree that this UI is it's like halfway there. In that on the right hand side you've got a chat, that's fine, but we're still in old style.
And so backchat replaces that. So we drop all of this, but we get the functionality back from talking with backchat, and that clears the way for us to bring the state board in later, where we want to do more advanced graphical things without also having all this crap going on as well.
I agree. And all this search, previous 7 days, that would be backchat. Show me all my sessions for the previous 7 days.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Then, are there any other interactions that you'd like to test to see if this model works for them?
So we've got undo. It's the save. It's all the usual ones. I mean, these are really vanilla ones, but it's all the usual, like save, download.
Can you hit me with one, and then I'll just check that I can run it through in detail?
Say, for example, I'm using I use backchat to instantiate a HAL agent. Working on a HAL agent in order to create a system prompt.
Yep.
We go backwards and forwards. Yeah. Then I want to be able to save that last system prompt that HAL and I have generated, and then I want to run that, instantiate it, and this is I don't know if it's neat or not, but once running that, what I want to do is to go back to HAL saying, here's the output. I don't want to cut and paste that. It's like flip.
Right. So now, so during the time of running the agent, did you expect to interact or chat with the agent yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you were immersed in the agent. The UI was presenting you as though you were fully immersed chatting to this bot that you just made, right?
Yep.
Did it make a file, or did it just output something in the chat that you're interested in?
Well, let's take my favorite,
the Rogan Josh
thing.
Okay.
So
you're chatting with it.
Chat with HAL to create a bot that creates Rogan Josh. It's like, right, okay, let's try it out. So then run the Rogan Josh agent.
Okay, so that would be so to do that, I would say backchat run the Rogan Josh agent or bot or whatever.
Right. So there's a thing there. So you're inside HAL.
Yeah.
And it's like you can talk to backchat and say, okay, that last system prompt that HAL produced, let's test that one out.
Yep. And so what that would do is it would spawn this one. If you were writing the system prompt in this one,
yep,
then when you say backchat run that bot, it would spawn a new session here and drop you into it. And now this is all you see. You start with
So I'm now working with it, and it's saying you should add chili into Rogan Josh. It's going, that's obviously wrong. Then I'd say something like, backchat, take me back to HAL. And it would know that.
Okay, and then so you're in the Rogan Josh recipe thing. You've done a bit of back and forth, and then you're like, backchat, go back, or this is what I was planning to do. Hit the back button in your browser. Will take you to the previous thing that backchat had you on.
That would work as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Now the addition to that is one is this session that I've just had with this test Rogan Josh agent. I'd want to show how and say we didn't get that quite right. There's no way chilies should ever go into Rogan Josh. And they go, okay, let me rerun. Okay, so here's new system.
All right. Okay, so is it okay? So you're back in HAL. Is it acceptable to say how how would I do that? Because I think to do that, I'd have to make Hal aware of the concept of sessions and how to read them, right? That seems okay, right? Because Hal knows how to write system prompts, so therefore Hal should be able to read a session file, which is like the chat.
Oh, yeah. I do this at the moment. Already does it just by cutting and pasting.
Okay.
Like, boom,
So how about this? You're back here and you say backchat attach the last session file, and then that what that does is it loads it up here, like using one of these, but it just shows the reference to the session file, and then you go something like, Hal, take a look at this session file. This was what the bot you made generated, and I think it's going to poison me. You better fix it.
Yep. What one actually prefers when I'm in. This would feel better actually, because backchat is always there as effectively your cut and paste, move files around, start apps and that sort of thing. So when I'm in the Rogan Josh version 01,
right,
what I'd want to say is backchat, take this session and take me back to the how I was talking about Lamb, Rock and Josh.
Okay.
Because it's wrong.
Okay, so I'm in here, and I've realized that I'm about to die if I follow these instructions, and I say, backchat, take this session file back to Hal. I want to keep working on it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
And then from that, backchat would be like, okay, I'm going to pick up the file that was just written. I'm going to switch the user's focus back to Hal, and then in that prompt, I'm going to add a path to that file.
Yep.
And then I'm going to let the user say whatever they want about it.
Exactly. And then I would say, back to Hal saying, Chili, come on, man, that's never going to work. We need to work on the system prompt. And then he's going to do his thing.
And then when you submit enter, when you said, come on, man, Chili, it's never going to work, the user chat message would have had the session file attached. And so that would be in the background loaded up into session. And then Hal would get that session output plus your complaint and would work to generate the system file again.
Exactly. So if we abstract that, it's inside of the Rock and Josh V01, the ability to talk to backchat, which I think is a really strong one, because I don't want to go back to Hal and then try and figure out how to tell him about this.
Right, you want to come in hot, right? Like you want to come in with the session file.
Yeah, the context is I'm in this agent and then talking to backchat, who has the global view.
Yeah.
I might even want to do something like backchat, this Rock and Josh recipe is brilliant. Take me to the how I was making a musical theatre piece for, because I want to make a song about this. So it might not be that one-to-one, but the context when you're talking about the session of the Lamb, Rock and Josh thing, I want to be able to take that into any of the other sessions that I've got.
Right.
Maybe, I've got a how that I'm just talking about Lamb, Rock and Josh.
Right.
Then I go into this and it's like, this is a great one. Backchat, take me back to my recipe book, how. And you take it into there. And then in the recipe book, how it's saying, right, make this chapter 2. So it's not necessarily just how, it's not that we go from how to test to how to test.
You could go anywhere.
Yeah, you could go anywhere. But in order to do that, you need to be able to talk to backchat in the agent that you're talking about.
And that seems to be the key, right? That's why I think that backchat is the key to this whole system, is because you need to suddenly like level out and basically do what ChatGPT gives you here, where you pop over to you pop over. What the hell have I done? You pop over to here, and you can start dancing around your previous sessions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the reason I'm going down that route just to double check my own thinking as well.
Yeah.
Right. Take the recordings that I merged.
Yeah.
Just before this. Okay. So
Yeah.
two recordings. They're slightly offset. So I went into Audacity. Okay. So take Audacity as a bot. Then I lined them all up. Then I exported them back to the desktop,
Yeah.
which is backchat.
Yep.
Then loaded them up into a player to make sure the MP3 played correctly.
Yeah.
If it does. And then went back to the desktop and then put it on WhatsApp and sent it over.
Right.
So each time you always go back to the desktop as your thing.
Yeah, it's the thing you go through on the way to everywhere else, right? And it's the file system that's the key there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
right.
As a human, you know the flow. But the alternative would have been going to the Audacity bot and load it all up and then say, Audacity, can you play this somewhere else? And then have to fire something
Yeah,
up.
it gets real cumbersome real quick, eh? But backchat, see, like, because when I'm in ChatGPT, inside this chat, there is no way for me to access my other chats, or I can't talk about my other chats within this
missing
chat.
Operating system. They're missing an operating system.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll come, but we can have it now just simply, like, backchat is a real simple thing that gives you all that power. All that power. So that's why I think that'll work for us, man. I think that's the model to go with.
I'm hugely enthusiastic about backchat because it gives all the cut and pastes, all the moving stuff around. Now, okay. So we're talking about natural language all the way around, but
right.
The irritating thing about the cut and paste is I'm a natural language bot as well, and I'm having to do all this heavy scraping. It's like, can you please get someone else to do that for me, which is backchat. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's
pretty good, right?
Yeah. Big backchat is basically an operating system for talking to multiple AIs.
Right.
And putting in the your human spice into the whole thing.
Right. Shit. Well, can you think of any other weird edge cases that you think would be clunky using backchat, or
let me think.
Or have we kind of got it all?
So we got the movement of sessions. We've got the movement or the common storage of files.
Mm-hmm.
We've got search. I've no immediate use for this, but since you asked, merging. It's like backchat. I've got one HAL here who's got one interpretation of a topic. I've got another HAL that's got another interpretation of the topic. Can I merge those and get to talk to one instead of two?
So could I say that I would be in HAL A, and I say backchat merge in the what from HAL B? Am I asking to merge the conversation or the files?
Or another way of doing it would be to backchat and spin up a new HAL and take the two sessions between HAL 1 and HAL 2 and create HAL 3.
Right.
And then I'll talk to HAL 3 because these guys are disagreeing.
Okay. So that.
But again, that's a real edge case because you asked for edge cases.
I did ask for edge cases.
No use for that.
Yeah, but that sounds like it made sense. Like you just solved it right there, right? Like, okay, so backchat works in that scenario?
It does.
Yep.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
What else you got?
Pull up your icon list because it really, what we're talking about now is, does backchat essentially act as a flow?
At my icon list?
To the, inside of HAL, your pop-up you've got.
Yeah,
okay. So backchat effectively is a flow between these, of which some are sessions. and you can search and so on. So
it's more than that. This is how you get external data in, and backchat is how you navigate around and connect things up. But this icon list is primarily about how you get richer, deeper information than just your text prompt into the system.
yeah, yeah. It's all about instantiation, really. Backchat is about instantiation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the thing that executes. It's the launcher. It's the app launcher.
And not only that is you can use backchat to say, right, backchat, take contents of this web page,
Yeah,
this PDF,
yeah,
search for the how that I was talking about these things about last time,
yeah.
and give me a new how that now knows about these things instead of having to
Maybe
click around.
that might be too much intelligence. So in that case, the default would trigger for backchat where it knows you're talking about some files, so it's got that, but doesn't know what you meant to do with them. So it fires up the default intelligent bot, which is like a version of HAL with all those files attached, and then it preloads it with the bit that it couldn't figure out. Like the user wants to mush this with that and do blah 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 blah. Go, and then
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a test, and I agree with that. Here's a test for it. Okay.
see,
So with our paradigm, that ultimately we want to be able to just talk to the thing.
yeah,
So if I say backchat, I had a session that looked at concerts in Barcelona. I can't remember the dates because it's 6 months out. I had another session that talked about those dates and organizing hotels and flights and so on. I want to now talk to both of those to figure out actually what my itinerary is.
okay. So that I would say would trigger off 2 search threads where it would start looking for the session that you asked for in each case, and then when it found it, it would fire up a new version of the default intelligent bot with those 2 sessions attached to it and the instructions to combine those. When the intelligent bot started up, what it should do is run summarizes on those sessions or read them directly into context and proceed from there to generate the itinerary based on those files.
Right, and then I could presumably talk to backchat and say, also add in the latest advisory from the Foreign Office about travel.
Right, but do you have that already? Because backchat's about what you've got already, not necessarily.
No, it works with the model that you just said. Backchat would then go to like an intelligent bot and say,
Right,
well,
and the
where do you
intelligent
get
bot would fire up and it'd be like, where's the
here's what it
new...
means.
Oh, I see. So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this must be annoying. I just need to really get these details out.
Yeah, no, it's really
So
interesting.
you're in this. You've got these 2 previous sessions. It's now backchat's now passed those files off to an intelligent bot, but then you asked for it to include the safe travel advisories, and you were like, backchat, bring in the safe travel advisories. Backchat was like, I need to start the default bot. It starts the default bot with the instruction, find the travel advisories. The default bot starts up, it recognizes it was asked for a web search, calls on the web search tool, figures out where a good source of the travel advisories is, pulls it in, and then says done. And now you're expecting backchat to know that it's finished and then roll back automatically to
yes. Actually, I've got a really concrete tester for this one, Traceability. Okay, so when I was going down to London, I had a whole bunch of constraints. I had to arrive at 11 a.m. because I had a meeting at 12. I wanted to go on this date. I went on train line, blah, 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 that sort of thing. And then I get this advisory, this pop-up that says your train has been cancelled. I was like, shit. Then I had to go into Trainline and try and figure out, given my previous
all that other constraint, right? And you had to rejig the whole
only
thing,
in my
right?
head. So what would be great is if I was backchat want to pick up train. Okay, so now you got into a how, and you go, right, well, okay, wait, I need to be here, I need to be back there. Don't want to cost more than this, but I might change that depending. And it comes up with, okay, here's your booking. Great. So that's done. Then I get a text saying your train's cancelled. It's like, backchat. There's a previous session that was talking about a train to London. I've been told by this service that it's cancelled. I want my constraints to be held, so give me another session where I don't have to think about it. It's like, here are your options.
Okay, so
it's basically what Jude does this for me manually. Actually, she's really
here's the problem, though. I think you're using backchat wrong there, because I think what you should do is say, backchat, take me back to my train booking session, and then you say to it what you just said to me.
Yes, that's true. However, say if I matched it with two things, say if I had another how, where say I had a speaking.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so you reckon that like backchat to take what you said, extract out the tasks that it can do, and then summarize the tasks that you gave it that it can't do as the starting prompt for an intelligent bot. That seems not too hard, right?
Yeah, I think your idea of like a behind the scenes intelligent bot, where I say to backchat, my train's cancelled.
Right.
Can you? And I've got two other sessions. One which is my speaking engagement. One of which is my travel plans. And this website is telling me I can't do that. It should then take it to the behind the scenes intelligent bot, where it works out, okay, so you look at, ScotRail or whatever, and then it identifies the two other bots and then creates a third bot that knows the full context. Because what you're trying to do here is coordinate. Because previously I thought it would be fine having one HAL talking about my speaking engagement and here's the times and dates and here's the people, all that kind of good stuff. Here's another one with travel, and here's a complete confuser that's going in. So what I want to do is to take the confuser, add it to the first and the second HALs that I've already got, get a third HAL, and say, get me out of the shit. What do I do about this? If it means changing train times, if it means changing the itinerary, if it means, even notifying the people, the guests are going to be there.
Yeah, right? Like a lot might trigger off. Okay. Well, that sounds... so just to check, when you were previously saying you wanted to... also, you were like, backchat, bring in the safe travel advisories. In that case, why didn't you ask the intelligent bot directly?
Because the intelligent bot... Well, actually, no, there's multiple places. I could pull up a new HAL saying, right.
So you'd go backchat new session.
Yeah, new session. It's like, HAL, can you bring up my previous sessions? Well, it wouldn't be HAL, wouldn't it? Inside that HAL is like, backchat, I've talked about my itinerary and my speaking engagement, and, everything's gone to fuck because the train's not running. Bring it into one. I need to sort this out. You could do that instead of a HAL. I guess the question is, where do you do that?
But that would start up a HAL. It would just bring in all this extra information from multiple places, which includes a session.
I think you're right. Actually, that makes more sense, doesn't it? So you bring up a new HAL, and then using backchat as your file system.
Oh no! Like I think what you're saying is possible, because backchat, if you're confident, and this is going to be on you because I don't know for sure, but if you're confident that you can prompt a bot to take an arbitrarily complex task, recognize that it can't do it, but pull out the bits it can, like find this file, find that file, do that, do those things, and then start the new default bot with the hard task. If you're confident that you can prompt the bot to do that, then we can do that flow that you talked about.
Yes. I think that's
That flow you talked
imminently
about sounds
doable.
the best one, because you start
Yeah.
to treat backchat like your concierge, and
It's not. It's the file system. You're quite right. So the one thing would be, so start a new session.
Mm.
It's all going to shit. What I want in that session is for some way for this session to bring in these two other ones I've already talked about.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a backchat. It's basically retrieve the file.
I think it's perfectly fine what you said the first time, because that is the most natural way to do it. You'd explain to backchat how things have fucked up, and it would know that it's now starting a new default bot, unless you said a different bot, like you're like, backchat, I want to start a chat
and then
with.
Pass over my prompt to that bot.
Yeah, it seeds it. It starts it running.
Yeah, and then that bot would be able to call backchat on my behalf
when it's done.
So say if I give that initial prompt, so fact, the train's cancelled, and that sort of thing. I need to talk to this and this. Then that new session wouldn't know what the two other sessions, and so it would go to backchat saying, give me the session.
No, they would be attached to the instantiation of the bot. The bot would start. Backchat would have prepared those files for it.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's
furthermore, I could say, backchat, it's all gone to shit. I want these two sessions. I want a travel advisory from blah, blah, blah. And I want to use the train planning bot version 5. And so it would go and grab all those things for you and then start a new instance of not Howl, because you told it you wanted a specific bot, the travel planning bot, and then it would have those files loaded up in it, ready to go. Plus, it would be pre-prompted with what you told backchat your problem was, and then it starts running. And now you've sort of been dropped into this new room, this new window, this new session with all these files that you asked for, with this bot that's specifically targeted for the job, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great flow, you think?
I think so. And conceptually, it feels like a PA who doesn't make any decisions, doesn't change it.
Yeah.
But we say, get my, commercial manager, my marketing manager, and my CTO in here because this news outlet has just said this, and I need to chat to them. And in real life, all the PA would do is just say, right, okay, commercial manager, marketing manager, CTO, you need to be here,
and then
and pull in the data so that
Right. And so a PA knows enough. Like you can ask a PA an arbitrarily complex question, and they'll just take it down in dictation, and then they'll go, right, and they'll just pass it. They'll pass it along. Yeah.
They won't interpret. They won't try and pull any information or that. They'll just, effectively send out emails. Be here.
Yeah. So they'll fix your spelling, your grammar, and whatever else. But that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So the only sort of extra bit of work you made for me was the notion that I might want to tell backchat to go do something and then come back. And so that bit I'll have to do a little bit of programming for, like go off and get the travel advisory. The fact that you said you wanted to chat with it while it was doing it.
Well, you don't. Technically, you don't need to do that, because what you could do, say this is a PA, and I've said, right, here's a link to a problem. I need X, Y, and Z in the room now to talk about that problem.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to go and get the problem. Okay, so some PAs would, but you could just put that into a prompt. And then it'd be the prompt.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But that's assuming that the prompt doesn't have some issue. So what we could do to get around that or handle that is that if you could try and do those things in parallel. But then if there was a problem, backchat would be like, hey, sorry, there's an issue with the blah, 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 blah. Would you mind having a chat to the travel advisory bot to sort it out? And you're like, yeah, go. And then it drops you in, and then you sort out the problem and then come back. And then whatever else managed to finish without your intervention is there too. You assess it all, and then you're like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. And the meeting starts. The chat starts. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But again, only raise that after being challenged for edge cases. That'd be lovely to have, but hey, that's not. It seems like, interesting enough though, it seems like the structure of backchat, all this falls out. There are roots.
That's the thing. That's what I was excited about. Like this. That's a radically fucking complex flow you just described there, but it seems trivial for backchat to handle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's the right design.
Your intelligent operating system, who doesn't try and figure out what you mean or what you're trying to do.
Yeah, right. Like macOS does not try to judge you or tell you what it is you're doing, but it will put you in the right place, launch the right app. It'll keep the right background task going. It'll do all those things.
Right. And so the core functions really is on backchat is to be able to retrieve from deep store any data, to be able to instantiate bots, and to be able to pass on and precede the session. So when you go into the bot, everyone is briefed.
Yep, but also to switch the user between
and
different bots.
And then hand you a coffee as you go into the. It's like
that's right.
You're in this meeting room. And you go,
yeah. All right, man. I think that's the thing, right?
That Lego bricks. Or the Lego brick of backchat as a PA, I think it's got legs.
It's got fucking hot legs. Like that's the the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I think that can do everything. Right?
Yeah.
And now we've sat here and you've come up with some pretty extreme examples. Not a problem, it seems. Right?
Because really it's the coordination of resources.
Yeah, and the thing that I was going insane over, I'm sorry, the resources are...
I'm just going through it. The resources are, coordination of resources in the preceding of an agent is like finding out previous sessions, finding out previous data, passing on external data, packaging that up, spinning up an agent, and then boom. I can't think of anything else.
No, the issue that I was going insane over was trying to do all this in band, and that's really the thing that I think is impossible to do, is to be able to do it inside the session that you're currently in. But with backchat, it frees you to do everything.
Yeah, because also you go back to backchat and you can say the complete opposite. You can say the trains are running fine. Now I'd like to send emails, and it's not going to say, well, previously the trains were running poorly, and now their trains are. It doesn't care. It's just going to pass on the sort of information to your new thing. It makes no judgment calls whatsoever.
No.
It doesn't try and figure out what
it does what you want. It just does. Yeah. It's the compliant thing that just takes you where you want to be, and it should be delightful because it should be superior to you without being condescending, because you can only vaguely remember what you're trying to do. It should nail that one every time, and you're like, oh man, this thing's great. Like, it found my Rogan Josh recipe.
But also because it just does what you do, even if it does get it wrong, you just it's like a PA getting it wrong. It's like, okay, what meant was this?
Yeah, and you're never really mad at the PA because the PA, Okay, so then the concept of back and forwards buttons is really just because one of the core functions of backchat is to navigate the user to be in a bot session and to flick you between bot sessions. The back button, therefore, means go to the whatever the previous session was.
I quite like that conceptually.
Yeah. So you go back and forwards.
Can you also go forward?
Yeah. So you go back and then you go forwards to different sessions, or if you go back and then you go backchat, take me to the blah blah blah, then that will clear your forwards history because you now overwrote it with this new thing.
I wonder if backchat was better opening a new tab, because it could be a completely different topic.
Nah, you if you want to do that, then that's a different button. I can do that. I can be like backchat, start a new backchat. We can do that and open a new tab.
But the backchat is a persistent thing like your desktop on a laptop.
Right. That's right.
And so if I were to go backwards and forwards and drill down and have the ability to say, right, okay, let's take, like the Rogan Josh example, to take it back to the previous one and then go back. Right, now I'm talking to this
I'll show you what I mean.
Right.
I'll show you what I mean though. Like, this is my IDE, right? I can go here. I can go to a different file. I can go to a different place in that file. It allows me this back button, which lets me go back to wherever I was, jumping around the file system.
Okay. Well, here's here's the reason.
Like it doesn't. That's not undo. That's not undo. It's just navigation between the sessions.
But the thing you said there was everything in your forward history is dropped.
Only if you decide to do something else. So watch what happens here. I can go back, and then I can go forwards. But if I go back, and then I do something, forwards disappears.
That's
right. That's
how the buttons work.
That's how all the things work. If you go back and don't do anything, then you can go forwards to exactly where you were. But if you go back and you do something, forwards loses its meaning.
Yes, and that conceptually is pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
What I was thinking about is I now want to talk about something completely different.
So like new topic, right? So I would say that you would say you would go backchat, new topic.
Right, and that would open a new tab.
So that wouldn't open I would imagine that would open a new session. So whatever you're in right now would be blanked, and you'd have a new session sitting there.
Yes, that's more correct, because how would you navigate tabs when you're blind and you can only talk to the thing?
That's right. And so another way that you could do that is you could go backchat. I want to talk about not lamb Rogan Josh, but prawn Rogan Josh. And so that would be the prompt to start a new session that's preloaded in the default bot with this prompt. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, can you just go over again when you're saying it drops everything forward?
Right.
Where does that go? So say if I made a mistake and went, shit, actually, I want to, because in the browser when you go back and then you do new search and then you go forward and it's, no, I was right first time. And you can't get it in the browser. Unless you've got a new tab, which is why I've got some tabs.
It is technically available to you in the Git history because you would have forked, but I really don't want to have to deal with
well, I guess I mean,
like, what are you doing? What are you doing where you expect to be able to go forwards again? I mean, what I could give to you is like so you've gone back a lot, and then you did something that in the browser world or every other app would have meant that your forwards history was removed. I could allow you to say, like, backchat, take me back to the previous history that I had, and it would maybe I would be able to get it to use its knowledge of Git to go, oh yeah, that means go back to that fork and then go all the way forward to this other thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. But
However,
my question is, what the fuck are you doing? That's really the
right.
question. Like, what are you doing? Why did that happen? And why has every browser been okay without that functionality?
No, I follow this multiple times. If I go, okay, you're in one browser, one tab.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Go forward, and then you go back, and then you go, and then you go forward, and then you go.
Yeah, and then
lost the previous
right, and then
string.
and so at that point, what you have to do is pull up history.
Right.
And I'm not going to do that here for various reasons because I'm not even sure what I've been looking at. But the point is that I should be able to be like, backchat, show me my history, and that's where you would use backchat to sort of get that more fine-grained navigation where you want to now.
That would work if I could go back to backchat.
Yeah.
Depending on how intelligent, well, as a PA, it'd be like
right. So I'd be like, backchat, show me my history, and that's where I can get out of that issue that you just described, because back and forwards is only sort of a two-dimensional thing.
Right, and now this is a three-dimensional.
And yeah, because you forked it, right? Because you went back and did something.
It's actually linear. So tabs are linear, right? You can go backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
and then
history is linear. Yeah,
and so on.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
you went back and you forked.
Yeah.
And so if I said backchat, show me my history, that's where you should be able to see the fork that you made, and then be like, oh, take me to the session about blah blah blah, and then that would drop you in there, and then off you go. Right.
So it's like a two-dimensional history as opposed to a one-dimensional history.
That's right.
Rewrites itself.
That's right. And then that, because I know that feeling that you have. I don't get that all too often, but I do know what you mean, and it is frustrating when it happens.
Yeah.
And typically for me, it happens.
This is very low priority, but he did ask me to stress test it.
I did ask you, and you sounded, if I may say, you sounded desperate. You did. You sounded desperate.
So
I think that's it, dude. I think we're finally at the packaging or the coordination of all the components that we've figured out how to do, right? Because
I think this is marvelous, because if you think about this, what you've got is backchat being your operating system, and you can use natural language to navigate through that without having to remember anything stupid like where it is in the Finder window. Which is a bane in my life. It's like, where have I saved that?
Where did I put it? Yeah.
And I was talking about this. I know I was talking about this, but fucking hell. Hunt and peck.
Hunt and peck. Yeah. The old hunt and peck. Yeah.
Right. I've only got a couple of minutes left. I need to go to the next. But
okay, you got 5 minutes left?
I've got 5 minutes left, yeah. I can do 5.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the transcript of this video, and then I'm going to run it through the old GPT. Is there a way to do Control All?
I don't know. I usually use. It's not a download. I think it's a download.
Where?
On the 3 dots. I think that must be.
Toggle timestamps. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've changed.
Lame. Okay, so manually.
Just do Control A, because they're just going to grab everything. But
no, Control A does this. That grabs like all the things.
Yeah, but it, usually you can delete out the obvious rubbish stuff.
Okay, so I go analyze this transcript and tell me all the user stories that were described here. Is that a good thing to say?
Yeah. I found it useful doing 3 hyphens to bracket it. It seems to
Like that?
get better results. Yeah, 3, and then you finish it with 3, and then you copy and paste in the middle. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
And that's a good prompt?
That's a good prompt, yeah. You gotta love this, don't you?
Yes! The future is finally here. User stories, eat it.
How many flights, international flights, and
International
and
flights.
spreadsheets. And...
Oh my goodness. Okay, could we use our remaining time to go through these and see if any of them don't fit?
Let's go for it.
Yep.
As usual, I want to understand how the development pipeline is set up and how commands are generated so I can effectively troubleshoot it now. Okay.
Seems easy, just a combination of bot instantiations.
Yes, but it's got the same user each time. It's not differentiated between the user. Ask it something along the lines of instead of using one user, use the user story to propose different responsibilities inside of a company.
Like that?
And rewrite. And rewrite. Because it just saves an extra prompt.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Parallel processing specialist. Interesting. Okay, let's go to the top and see what's done. Okay, as a pipeline architect, I want to understand how development pipeline is set up. Yeah, we could tighten up the as a, but that's fine for now.
I thought this was better, actually.
Yeah.
What was wrong with this?
Because it didn't say user. I mean, user stories are all about users interacting with the system.
Yeah, but
it's like,
what's wrong with that?
So, well, you could take out as a user and...
right, but that's the only thing you'd want to take out, right? Like,
yeah.
Because, like, you could argue that there's also the as an admin or as a poor person who has to build the system thanklessly in the background.
Exactly. But we don't have time. But what we'll do next is take those users and clump them into well-known job roles.
Oh, right. Like group all these as different. Yeah,
right,
okay.
Right. But we don't have time for that.
Okay.
We'll do next.
So this one, managing multiple bots, that seems trivial.
Yep.
With backchat, how commands are integrated into the help file. So that would be merely being able to read the help file and providing some extra tooling around loading the APIs that are mentioned in the help file so that when you're in a bot, you can sort of bring that up and consider it more.
Yep. Understand how function calls are made. Understand is really...
I guess that would be just you're using backchat to roll back and forwards and analyze function calls in detail by sort of freezing them.
That's a test bot. So a test bot is there to make sure it's executed correctly. So I can add new commands and functionalities needed. Yeah,
that seems... It seems a lot of these are possible just so long as you can navigate around the file system and the bots and invoke them and connect them up together.
Right, exactly. A lot of these are actually bots, not people. So I'll always look at the second part, so I can effectively manage and debug bot interactions. That's like an orchestrator.
Yeah.
Bot command execution, ensuring. I want the bot to execute commands and handle the results properly, ensuring the model so I can compare results. That's a judge.
This one, we can set that up. I need to do a bit of extra coding work to enable that to happen as a way of running an isolate, but that's perfectly fine as well. Because it's all stored as session files, backchat would be able to coordinate between multiple concurrent calls that we're running.
Yep.
So that's all fine.
Bot orchestration as user. I want to orchestrate multiple bots. Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. Customer service as user. I want to create and manage customer records. Where did that come from?
We were chatting earlier about the CRM. Yeah.
I want to manage sessions and topics dynamically, allowing me to switch contexts. Yeah, handling topics. And
hey, I'd like to put to you a name change that I think that session should be changed to thread. I'm willing to be talked out of it, but session seems very. It might be pedantic to ask for a name change, but session does seem over-indexed because you got like the browser session.
Over-indexed.
But thread is what OpenAI calls this thing in their API, basically.
I'm happy with that. And also, I was over-indexing on session as topic.
Right. So we're breaking. Okay. So we're breaking session out to be an unused word now. What we previously called a session has been broken out into topics, and
a topic is the summary in context of a thread. The thread is the
right, but a single thread can have multiple topics within it, right?
Yes.
So the topic, I think, is the segmentation of a thread.
The topic is the segmentation of a thread. So
you can break a thread up into topics.
Oh, I have to think about that one. I think so. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. File and session merging. Yep, so that's pretty easy. Like, backchat, bring this file with me back to the parent, or backchat, save this file. Like if you're in a bot and then it does some stuff that modifies one of the files, like a customer record, and you're like, okay, backchat, save it, or
a second, I need to text.
We can cancel. We can stop now. Oh shit, the time. Yeah, let's stop.
Yeah.
We're out. Okay.
It's 11 a.m.
Right.
I should go and put some clothes on because I've been doing all this naked.
That's horrible. Okay. I'll see you later.
Right. Right. Good session. And I think I think
we're there.
Huge supporter of the backchat idea as effectively your laptop, desktop.
Yeah, I think we're there.
Yeah.
All right, finally. All right, finally.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you later.
See you next time.
Okay, bye.
See ya.